And welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to start volume 9 of my Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac scrapbooks. There was a couple pages that hadn't made it into my 2 volumes of Wild Heart stuff, which will go back in there eventually, but I found them. I might have shown them in one of my little pop-up videos in between records and stuff like that. So sorry if you've seen these before, but just in case. This was a really cool, I'd received the stand back sheet music not too long ago and decided to put these pictures with it. These were outtakes of Stevie's original Wild Heart video, stand back video for the Wild Heart album, obviously, where we call it the Civil War edition. And this was her and all the girls wearing these huge Southern Belle, big old dresses, really cute. I tried to kind of keep that little Southern Belle theme with all the stuff around here. This is the remainder of the photos, and as I've mentioned before, I'm a big Greta Garbo fan, in part thanks to Stevie Nicks. And these are original little cigarette cards that you would get back in the 20s and stuff like that. They'd put these little cards in your cigarette packs. They're kind of rare, not worth a lot of money, but just kind of cool little things. And again, with the whole kind of Southern Belle and dress up part, I just thought they'd kind of go cool with Stevie stuff. And they didn't know where else to put them. I have all this related Stevie stuff, and oftentimes I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I'm like, I'm just going to make a damn page and add them. They mean something to me, and they kind of go together. So that's that. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I love these shots. I had them for the longest time, and then I think I gave them to somebody. I think I know exactly who I gave them to, but I thought I had duplicates. And I looked and looked and looked, and I asked a friend, and she sent them to me, and I had them printed out. So they're not any kind of first generation or anything. They're stuff that's kind of been circulating on the internet for a while. Next, there was also this sheet music. And I think I did show this because I had found some original Worthington outtakes and stuff. We know this poster hand tinted by Stevie, and this I did myself. I made it like different colors. But I had some prints that were not tinted, and sold some of those that I took like a little picture of one to put with the scrapbook stuff. Sheet music again, yet another photo from the If Anyone Falls video. So I'll probably put this in kind of close into that with all those pictures. It would make sense. And then I think I did show this picture, these pictures. This one is really cool. I don't know who that gentleman is, but Stevie just looked ecstatic to be there. And then, don't we have a game about this picture? How many times it could be used? But some original radio station stuff. This little blurb on Stevie is a letter by Holly Pelton. Dear Nancy, I was wondering if you could help me get some info on rock singer Stevie Nicks. Has she released a new solo album? And if so, what's it called? Word's been out that Stevie has split from Fleetwood Mac. Is that true? Thank you for your help. And could you print a pretty picture of her for me? And so they replied with, I think I did read this out. They replied with the Wild Heart is coming out with tracks like Stranded, and Stand Back. It sure is another hot one. As for your question, the answer is no. Stevie is not leaving Fleetwood Mac. And here's that pretty picture that we've used 1,000 times. We're going to use it 1,001 times now. But it is a lovely photo. So that kind of does it for the Wild Heart. 2 volumes and 2 pages, right? So now we start in with kind of 84, 85. And I should know this, right? Because I did my homework when I did the 45s. But I don't know who came first, Christine or Lindsay, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to start off with Christine. Not the best caricature. In person, it's not too bad, but on camera, it looks kind of horrifying a little bit. I'm just throwing that out there. See up close, not so bad, but back here, it is spooky season. Cool magazine. I had not gotten this. A friend of mine who I've made online, whose mom was really into Stevie Nicks stuff, had this, and I was ecstatic to get this issue with Christine Mcvie on the cover. It's from May 3rd through the 9th, 1984. And inside, this was the article, kind of a short article, but great picture of Christine. the Big Mac's other lady. And then these two little blurbs were in the paper as well. And then this is just kind of a random picture. This is an outtake from a session that was done with Christine for People magazine, I think, around the time she was dating Brian Wilson or after he'd passed. No, because this is later. So maybe it was for the 1984 album, but they had some other. I know one of these pictures is in People magazine. And I would have given anything to have been at that tour. After that, we have a review from Rolling Stone on Christine's album. Pretty short and sweet. Just one picture of her with herself and one picture of the band from June 7th, 1984. Side note, totally unrelated, but as I'm making videos today, I had tried to put a link to on a Facebook site to win a copy of the Buckingham Nicks album in blue vinyl and the slip mat, like I had shown in one of my earlier videos. And I got banned. I got banned from eBay for 24 hours because I showed nudity. So in going, what the F, and just how freaking stupid Facebook is, because it's not run by people anymore, or they're just as dumb as I think they might be. I thought, oh Jesus, I've been showing that Buckingham Nicks poster, so that's why she's covered up right now. And because I thought, oh, that's just the last thing I need is to get caught on YouTube with nudity. So stupid, right? So then I laid into them and I said, are you high on crack? Like, what's wrong with you? And they let the post go through, but by this time I don't give a rat's ass. But they still didn't undo me being able to post in groups or post on anything. So, they took that back. They let the post go through that. I don't even know if it ever did go through, but I still cannot get onto Facebook or be in my groups or make a comment for 24 hours, which I thought was hilarious. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I meant to tell you that at the beginning. I thought it was funny. Pictures of Christine, really cool pictures. Funny enough, I think I've mentioned this before. This seller, these pictures are up on eBay frequently, and Rusty, something like that, is a seller out of Australia, I want to say. And I have gotten some crummy photos from this person, and kind of made me think about it. And just because I did not get what I expected, and I don't mind the second generation, third. Not even necessarily if they're super well printed, because I can always try and copy them myself, or, photo's a photo. But these things were literally completely it looked like a QR code on the page. It was just awful. Hesitantly, I purchased from them again, and they were really nice. Maybe they don't remember things like I do. And these are from them. This is Christine being interviewed by Alan Rickman, I think, for MTV. And they had a whole bunch of these, and I loved them. And these came out really nice. I was really grateful to get these. But that seller is on eBay, and they have quite a collection of Stevie photos that they sell. Stevie and Chris, obviously, a hodgepodge of stuff. And other artists. There's actually some other artists that I'm really into, and I've gone to, I might want to get that picture and find out it's that same seller. So I don't know if they're a fan or they just have those photos, but yeah, these were really great. I was really happy to come across these and be able to get the whole set, or all that they had anyway. It's not often we see as many candid photos, especially of Christine on her own. I mean, I don't know what it was like. In reading the articles, you don't really get a feel of Christine, how she felt going out on her own. I mean, she had it going on before Fleetwood Mac, obviously, and then she's not one to really want the spotlight as much as, I don't even know that Stevie really wanted the spotlight, but kind of being singled out and such. And but going out on her own, and then in the 80s when Stevie had done it already, Lindsay had done it already, and and Lindsay and Stevie are about to both go out and do it again. What it felt like for her. And I don't just there's no articles like, oh, I just wasn't sure or something. I mean, I just really don't know much more about that. But what I do know is that it seems to me that everything she did around this time was just a complete hoot. I mean, it seems like in the videos I've seen, photos, everything like that she really did enjoy herself and enjoyed making it. Hopefully she loved the album because, as you well know, I freaking love this album. These were a series of negatives that I purchased. Unfortunately, many are so similar, but that's the way it goes. And I'm a nut job like that. Like there's 20 shots on the frame. I want all 20. But yeah, again, this is shooting is it Level Shows How or the other one? I can't remember now which video. This one she's shooting here. Not too sure about that. And then again, I'm pretty sure this was Level Shows How. That's why I put all the little goofy planets and stuff like that, because I just remember the UFO and love that video. I love that song. I love that damn album. Let me just tell you again, I love that album so much. And a pass from a show that I would kill to have gone to. Hard to find things like that. I've seen a couple. I think this one is real, but I know that there's a couple that have been on eBay from a club, a country club. She performed at a country club somewhere. Again, I speak of the box of photos that I got. I bring that up a lot in numerous videos. And these next 4 photos I'm going to show you were in that box. I don't know if that's Christine McVie's autograph. I'm not an expert on anybody's autograph. Stevie's, Lindsay's, Mick's. I mean, I try really hard, and I certainly can't compare it to the one I got of Christine from the stage because that's from the stage. So I can't read it either. It looks like it says fork something. So I don't know, but it's really cool and it's legit. I mean, it's really written on there. And then these photos were all in that box. I really like this one. And then they go with these here as well. Yet another autograph. I think I did get this one off eBay. No, I bought a John Mcvie autograph off eBay. So I don't know where I got it. This could be the same box, but it doesn't look really anything like this. I mean, I guess. I don't know. So I'm not claiming it's real by any means, but I like them. I like them a lot. I would love it if they were real. This one on the back here. So this I had to have gotten this off eBay. Soul of the Mac, Christine McVie, who many regard as the soul of the platinum-clad band Fleetwood Mac, will perform as a solo Friday in a performing arts center. McVie's plaintive voice carried such Mac tunes as Over My Head and Say That You Love Me, and her latest single, Love's Got a Hold on Me. McVie's concert begins at 8 p.m. Tickets are $11.50, up to $13.50. 1984. $11.50. Let that one sink in for a second. If you all just heard the somewhat recent video of my talking about going to Stevie, and they wanted 12 grand for her tickets. Not 12 grand. $1,200. My bad. My apologies. I can't math. because it's mind numbing. It's mind boggling how much money they wanted for those tickets. This was an early page I made, this kind of a hodgepodge of her stuff. So not everything is accurate time frame wise. But yeah, it's 80s. How about that? This was a negative I purchased. And then this was a something I got on eBay, like a little press photo. Don't think there's anything on the back, or else I would have tried to cut it off or make a copy like I normally do. This I found on the internet because it goes with these. Then two things definitely from eBay, press photos with the little newspaper thing on the back. So like I said, I usually cut that off if I can. About her performance live. We're coming up to one of my most favorite pages that I made of Christine, and that is this one. And I think I definitely showed this one in a pop-up. And it's really cool because, again, me and the one frame thing, this one was really, kind of caught me by surprise. Pardon me, because I'd seen it, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's just off. It's just slightly. But I found this one and a Lindsey Buckingham one that I'll show you in the next video when I show some of the Lindsey stuff from '84. And then this photo had recently come up. At the time I made this photo had been part of an auction at like Christie's or something like that. And I did copy it, straight up copied it. So, I mean, look at that photo. And I think I said the same thing when I first showed this. How are you not going to take, because I would have killed. I would have paid, again, if you saw my Polaroid video, you should understand that there's no amount that, if slightly possible, I would sell parents, boyfriend, but I would go to great lengths to try and get. So yeah, if I could have obtained this, that would have been sweet. And I just hope, I think when I look at and hear about stuff like that, like those, those auctions and stuff like that, I hope it goes to people who like genuinely, love it. I came across something, and I'm sorry to go off on another soapbox tangent here, but I came across a page on Facebook, and it was like a rock and roll collections, and somebody had, who was it? Not Debbie Harry, somebody's clothing. And there was a very specific shoot they had done wearing this outfit. And this outfit was something that was kind of like a sample dress. So there was no more out there. And they were going to sell it. And they're like, in their comments, they said, I've had this in my collection for about a year now. It's time to let it go. And they want like, 13,000, not 1,300, but like 13. They want some astronomical amount for it. And I'm thinking to myself, if I were to buy something like that, first of all, I'm real weird about clothes. Like, I don't know. That's just me. I'm not picking on anybody who has it. I know a lot of people have some Stevie clothes. Shawl would be kind of cool. I've had some boots that were hers, but and they were different, not the cool platform, typical boots. But I have a hat that's supposedly hers. But anyway, and but like if you had it for a year and it's time to let it go, like why'd you buy it? Like you're putting out big money like that, I guess is what I'm saying. And if you're not putting out big money to like keep it infinity, it makes no sense to me. Or possibly maybe you're the kind of person who maybe buys something for like $25, which is really cool, and then you're able to sell it in about a year for like $2,500. That I understand. Times are tough. Look at me. I mean, I'm selling tons of stuff that I don't want to sell just because of what's been going on. And but yeah, that's always surprised me that like people, they get things like that. And we had that auction that was up there. I don't even know what it ended up, but I know it went for a lot of money. And I just hope to hell that somebody dearly loves it. And what they do with it, and if they don't, it's their business. But just me as a collector and such a big fan, I just can't imagine getting something and then shortly down the line being like, yeah, it's time to move on. just me, just odd to me, especially again for the money, I guess is what I'm saying. But yeah, I just love the kind of 80s aesthetic. I thought it was so creative with her name and stuff. This poor little clipping had a lot of sticky stuff on it, and it was really bad on this side, so I was trying to cover it up. And then on the reverse of this is a very early page. Again, you'll see some duplicate stuff. I think I had this up already. This was a cool little thing that came out much later. A picture from the dance, but I had the little piano. I thought that was so cute. Little, like, you can see it's kind of like 3D. I waited. I remember having that, and I'm like, I can't wait to find the right page. Put with Christine McVie, and yeah. But that's that. So that's this video. It's a little bit long because I went off on several tangents, but that's Christine McVie. Next, we'll start with Lindsay, which is kind of a short pile. And I think that we'll maybe start with Rock Little stuff, just so that we can, this started with some Stevie stuff for you Stevie fans that just really want Stevie content. But since I'm going down the years. And I think actually at the end of Lindsay, yeah, it's actually a shorter pile because I have two pages in here of Stevie from 85 and 84 and 85. Yeah, so we'll get to that next video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night. Bye.